Hello, this is Chad Middleton, your vocational expert. And as always, I like to come on YouTube and talk to you guys about what I'm witnessing, what I'm seeing as a vocational expert. Uh, Many of you don't have a copy of your DBQs, your Disability Benefits Questionnaire. Your Disability Benefits Questionnaire, for those that don't know, is what the medical examiner completes when you participate in a CNP exam. Okay, that information from that exam goes to the VA regional office, and the person that's helping facilitate the decision making determines what your disability compensation is. But I get to see a lot of DBQs in my profession as a vocational expert. And one thing I want to encourage you to do is go ahead and apply or request a copy of your DBQs. A lot of times you get the letters in the mail and it is your award letter, and your award letter summarizes what's in the DBQ. But you don't know what's in the DBQ because you don't have a copy of it. Well, I want you to request a copy of your DBQs, okay? You need to find out what has been written in your records about your disabilities. It's also helpful for me as a vocational examiner or a vocational expert. I like to see what the doctors have said about your limitations so that I can determine how these limitations affect your ability to work. Okay, so if you're listening to this, go ahead and request a copy of your DBQs. You might be saying, well, Chad, how do I request a copy of my DBQs? Very good question. You go to the VA regional office and you fill out a Freedom of Information Act. It's basically you want information pertaining to your file from the VA. You request copies of your DBQs. They're probably going to give you a runaround, maybe 4 to 6 weeks before they can give you a copy. But go ahead and request a copy. Okay, go ahead and do that. Thank me later, but go ahead and request a copy of your DBQs. Okay, but nevertheless, let's get back to the story. So I am exposed to a lot of DBQs, and I'm looking at a DBQ today for a person who has only a 10% rating for hip and thigh conditions. All right. They have some radiculopathy, I think is what it is, or hip fracture. Okay. A hip fracture that is service connected. They also have a 70% rating for mental health, I think is anxiety. But as I'm looking at the DBQs, I'm looking for what the doctors say about your ability to perform certain activities. This particular person who has a hip and thigh condition, um, you may think, excuse me, it may be difficult for this person to do many physically strenuous jobs because of the hip and thigh condition. But because it's only rated at 10%, I didn't want to overlook it and feel like it's not limiting. So when I went into the DBQ gave me more specifics about this person's limitation. Specifically, this person, the medical examiner states that this, in one of the questions they ask, let me tell you what they ask. All right. When they are wrapping up your medical examination, they have a section called functional impact. What is the functional impact of uh, the 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 disability that is stated in the diagnosis section? It says, regardless of the veteran's current employment status, do the condition listed in the diagnosis section impact his or her ability to work? This medical examiner clicked the box or checked the box, yes. It says, if yes, describe the functional impact of each condition, providing one or more examples. The medical examiner said, uh, this veteran can no longer run, can no longer go on 3 mile walks, which is not, no longer go on 3 mile walks, hard to play with granddaughter. Standing longer than 10 minutes is a problem. walking longer than 10 minutes, and sitting longer than 20 minutes causes increased hip pain. And also avoid going up and down stairs. Now, it's going to be very difficult to find jobs that this person will be able to do that is compatible with their service connected disabilities. Now, again, I already said that the person has a 70% rating for mental health. But when you start combining the physical limitations as well, it significantly reduces the number of jobs available because of their inability to sit, inability to stand, and inability to do any climbing ladders, stairs, or anything like that on a frequent basis. When you combine these limitations, as well as the problems with the mental health, anxiety, increased panic attacks weekly, uh, chronic sleep issues, difficulty in adjusting to work, difficulty in adjusting to stressful environments. When you start adding the mental health conditions along with the physical conditions, you then start eliminating jobs. All right. And if a person, because of their disabilities, have issues performing sedentary jobs, then of course it's going to eliminate light jobs, medium jobs, heavy jobs. Okay, as a vocational expert, I'm trying to find jobs that I feel like this veteran is able to perform. And when you have limitations such as these, it eliminates these jobs. Yeah, you can go to work working in that capacity, but it's unsuitable. It's not a suitable job. So I can't say to this person that they can go to work as a customer service representative when I know that job requires sitting for up to 6 hours and the constant interaction with people, the stress associated with that job on the phone, uh, 8 hours out of the day. That job, as well as any other job that's related to this position, will be eliminated. So, if you're a veteran, you have mental health limitations, and you also have some physical limitations, and you've been rated by the VA, you want to request your DBQs so you can see what the examiner felt are your limitations. Now, you can't, I don't know if you can make a claim for yourself, but if you have a vocational expert that translate these limitations to types of jobs that you can perform, if there's a summary or conclusion that there are no jobs that will not be impacted by your limitations, then you should apply for TDIU and you should utilize a vocational evaluation report to assist you with the claim. Now, if the VA denies you with the vocational evaluation report, don't sweat it. All you have to do is appeal. Okay? Appeal. Another set of eyes need to see exactly what the first person that made the decision did not see. And if the VA says that they feel like you're able to work, they should be able to identify the jobs that you can perform. Okay? And then the credentials of your vocational evaluator, as well as the credentials of the VA expert, so to speak, or the person making the decision, will go on notice. All right. Something has to be done about this vocational evaluation report and the fact that this evaluator is saying that there are no jobs that won't be impacted by these conditions. So don't fret if you're denied. Utilize a vocational evaluator, request your DBQs so that you can get an idea of what the examiners are saying about your condition. Okay. I look at a whole lot of DBQs, guys, and a lot of you don't have copies of your DBQs and you don't know what the VA said. Only thing you're given is a letter from the VA that summarizes what's in the DBQ. As a vocational evaluator, I look at the medical records and I determine how these limitations are translated into jobs. As a vocational expert, we know about the functional, the physical, and the mental activities that are performed on jobs. And if you have limitations that affects your ability to do work, how can the VA say that you're capable of performing some job without identifying the job that they feel that you could perform? Okay. This is Chad Middleton, your vocational expert. And before I go, I want to get you guys to go to our website and purchase a copy of the TDIU ebook. This ebook is going to save you time. It's going to save you a whole lot of time and confusion and frustration going against the VA without knowledge. With knowledge, with understanding of how to file a proper claim and to listen to some of the scenarios of the people that we've helped in the past, you get a better understanding about how to proceed through the process. Okay? So go to our website, www.vcandvc.com. Scroll down until you find the TDIU ebook. Okay? Time is money. And what you don't want to do is waste time filling out forms wrong, get turned down, then have to start the process over. If you want to get it right the first time, you want to have something to guide you through the process. Okay? If you have a problem, if you're an older veteran, you have problem accessing the ebook, if you have issues with technology, you can always call our office at 803-563-5087. We're in South Carolina on the East Coast, so if you're somewhere else in the United States, factor that into the time in which you've called, or you can email us at admin, ADMIN at vcandvc.com, ADMIN at vcandvc.com. Reach out to us, get a copy of the ebook, set up a consultation with me, your vocational expert, so that we can talk about your disabilities, your limitations, and how your limitations are affecting your ability to work. What you want is a credible expert to provide documentation about your ability to work. Now, if we feel like you're capable of performing some type of job, we'll let you know. And we won't even do a report. You won't have to pay for a report. You don't have to go through the process. But this is the step where you can talk and see whether or not you got a good case for TDIU. So if you're rated 70, 80, 90% disabled, you're not working, regardless of how old you are, consider contacting our office to set up a consultation. Also get the ebook, which tells you what TDIU is, how it works, forms you need to fill out, things that you need to avoid when filing for the claim, and the process of appeals. All of this information is available somewhere. And yes, you can get somebody to assist you somewhere, for sure, for sure. But this has been consolidated and placed in an ebook so that you can have your manual in getting to this benefit and being found favorable for the benefit. Okay? Thank you very much. I look forward to talking with you. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Consider giving us a call and consider to like and subscribe if you haven't already to get more information about DBQs, about information, things that I've seen. Because if you're going through it alone, you won't get access to somebody else's DBQ. You won't get information about somebody else's process. But I will, because I've worked with hundreds of veterans through this process, and you can get the assistance that you need going through the process as well. Okay? Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching this channel, and God bless you. I look forward to seeing you soon.